Definitely not how it's gonna stay, but for the time being, I mean, it's all right. We're slowly adding more and more to the man cave recording studio. I think it's a nice little touch. Ultimately, I would like it to be more up like that, but there's nothing really to attach to. So I'm gonna have to try to make something so I can kind of attach the top portion kind of back so it's not necessarily covering that sign, but it is just exercise. I thought you said extra fries, so worst case scenario, it's just covered. But regardless, I don't know, I thought about even putting like the old lights, but that's a lot of weight to put on top of that. Alright guys, what is going on and welcome back to the channel. It's kind of later in the night, but I want to kind of continue the Warrior disassembly. Devin supposedly dropped off a 27mm socket, but I'm not finding it in my toolbox. So I'm going to have to call Devin, see where he might have put that. Maybe it got thrown back in his bag or it's someplace that I'm just not seeing it. But I would like to continue to disassemble the Warrior today so we can get it back, so we can take it back to New York. Look at that LB7 smoke, baby. Because it's freaking America Day, that's why. If you weren't up to date, this is the aftermath of the nasty situation we had with the clutch going out. These, like I said in the video when we actually did this, these are stiff. I mean, they're in there. These two kicked out pretty hard. So I'm going to try to get these 5 screws out today. Hopefully nothing internally is messed up. So we're going to get that off. And then, like I said, if we don't have the 27mm socket, then we're going to continue getting the rest of everything apart. Also, if anybody is looking for stock Wrangler wheels with decent tread, let me know, because they're just going to sit here until I sell them to somebody. So that took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, but I want you guys to see, this is one of the bolts that got kicked out. And you can see the bend that it kind of like kicked up at. This is crazy. Focus. There we go. You guys can see the bend. It's supposed to be straight. But the tip, I annihilated trying to get out of here. Same with this one over here. They both got bent pretty bad, and they both got really annihilated. Now, I was using a 10mm socket instead of using the Phillips attachment that was there. The other ones, which are sitting right over here, everything was fine. Everything else, seemed okay, but I'm a little worried about the threading inside here and up here, honestly, since they've been kicked out. So I'm going to shine my flashlight in there and see if I can't see something. Now, shining my flashlight inside here, they don't look like they are stripped in any type of way, but there is one way to find out, and that is to take one of the good ones and try to seat it through. A little worried about this, but that one's seating so far, hand cranking, no issues at all. Let's try this top one. This top one's giving me a little bit of problems. There we go. So I'm going to kind of tighten these down and just kind of see if it goes all the way through. This one, honestly, it feels like it's got some spots that are kind of in it, but I think we can get away with it once we get everything going. You can actually see one of the plates just kind of wobbling in the back. I think it was just too much pressure. Honestly, they did both kind of go in pretty decently. So let's try to get this out. Hopefully I can find this 27mm socket. Alright, so I thought I was losing my mind, and I thought Devin said that he put a 27mm socket in my toolbox the other day when we were working on the Jeep, but he did not. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get any further than where I am right now on the clutch, which it is what it is. I'm in no rush necessarily. It would be nice to have this for the next time that we go to New York, but we still have a couple weeks yet until we get to that point. So it's not like it's like life or death that I have to get this done. But let's continue by getting the front plastics off and getting everything else disassembled. That way everything is ready to rock and roll. Everything, putting it back together. Like I said, I want to paint the frame. I want to redo the plastics. I want to make this thing look really, really good. Okay, well that was eventful. So there is a little bolt that goes right inside here that connects the plastics. Now this side was fine. Over here gave me one hell of a time. It's still inside there. The end is stripped out over here. I actually think I stripped it out when I put it back together like a year and a half ago. So I'm just gonna cut this off and put a new bolt inside there. Not the end of the world. It was just a little bit frustrating because over here, when I did pull, I just pulled it straight through. So I'm just gonna have to get a bolt that'll fit and cover nicely with a washer to cover that up so it still snugs tight. But the front is now off. I'm debating whether or not I just want to go all out and disconnect the ignition, take the lights off, and take everything. I think I'm going to, just not necessarily in this video. I'm not sure yet though. Alright, so it is almost 10 o'clock at night. I do unfortunately have to work for a little bit tomorrow morning on Memorial Day. So I'm only working a half day. So on my way home, I will stop at Lowe's. I will get a 27mm socket so we can get this clutch pack out. We can continue moving forward. Now, as for that front piece, I was actually looking. I actually just kind of pulled this up when I painted underneath here. You guys can even see like there's certain areas like up top here where I just didn't paint. So I think I'm going to let that go for right now. I did disconnect the ignition, but then I hooked it back up, and I'm like, honestly, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Truthfully, I would like to get all new shocks for this because the rear shock, the one for the back, is absolutely horrendous. It is blown. Whenever you go over any type of bump, it is freaking awful. Like your ass smacks on the ground so freaking hard. But I was looking online, the actual shocks for the back of these things are ridiculous. The price of the shocks are nuts. So it's something that maybe I can see if I can get one used, but then again, in the same token, I don't feel like buying one that's used and then deal with the same thing in a year or 5 years. The option is still open to find a parts Warrior in the central Pennsylvania area. So if you guys know anybody that has a Warrior in the central Pennsylvania area that they're selling, whether it's blown, whatever the case may be, let me know, send me a message. That way I can try to work a deal with them so we can get a parts Warrior for just extra stuff. To be honest with you, there's certain things that I want to replace. I'm going to show you guys the exhaust probably in the next video. The flange at the end is like, I think one of the bolts is stripped and it's got like this annoying rattle. So if this was your first time watching a video on the channel, guys, I hope you give this video a big thumbs up. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button down below. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. I think we're less than 80 away now. That is insane. You guys seem to really enjoy the Jeep build, and we are going to continue doing Jeep stuff. I hit on it in yesterday's video that I'm not sure what I'm doing with the Duramax yet. So there is the potential of a new Duramax coming on the channel. Whether or not how soon it is, I'm not sure. Or we might just repair the one that we have. Now, obviously the odds are gonna, you know, kind of play themselves out. But like I said, guys, till the next one, see ya.